dear students, welcome back to the Science Live revision classes. That is day 4 of Science Live classes. Today we will be covering 5 important units. So do try to attempt the complete session and try to make a note of all the keywords or the key points what we will be discussing. So without any delay, we'll start the live classes. If you have not subscribed the channel, do subscribe the channel, and also for notes for the worksheet, do join the Telegram group. So unit light reflection and refraction, very important chapter from the examination point of view in the physics. Out of 28 marks, you can expect maximum marks from this chapter. So the important questions what you can expect from this chapter is based on the reflection of light. Based on reflection of light, you should know the two laws of reflection. The angle of incidence is equal to what? The angle of reflection. And also the incident ray, the normal to the mirror at the point of incident, and the reflected ray all lie in the same plane. These are the important laws of reflection. And also formation and properties of image formed by the plane mirror. The properties and how the image is formed. See, the image formed by the plane mirror is always virtual and direct. The image formed by the plane mirror is always virtual and direct. So it has been asked in many of the times in the MCQ question. The size of the image is always equal to what? The size of the object in case of plane mirror. The image formed is as far behind the mirror as the object is it in front of it. Okay? The image is laterally inverted. See, if they ask you to write the properties of image formed by the plane mirror, the properties will be the image formed by the plane mirror is virtual and direct. The size of the image is equal to size of the object, and the image is laterally inverted. See, what are the properties of the image formed by the plane mirror? The image is always virtual and direct. The size of the image is equal to size of the object. The image is laterally inverted. The image is formed far behind the mirror as the object is in front of it. Now the important question what you can expect is the definition of spherical mirror. The mirrors whose reflecting surface are spherical are called as spherical mirrors. Dear students, you should make a note of all these points, because in the examination we never know that from which line or which paragraph the question might come. Therefore, it is very important to go through the textbook. If the reflecting surface, the mirrors whose reflecting surface are spherical, those mirrors are called as what? Spherical mirrors. There are two types of spherical mirrors, that is concave mirror and convex mirror. The two types of spherical mirrors are concave mirror and convex mirror. A spherical mirror whose reflecting surface is curved inwards, see here, then it is called as what? Concave mirror. Whose reflecting surface is curved inwards, it is called as what? Concave mirror. A spherical mirror whose reflecting surface is curved outside, the reflecting surface is curved outside, then it is called as convex mirror. A spherical mirror in which reflecting surface is curved inwards, it is called as concave. Right? A spherical mirror whose reflecting surface is curved outward, it is called as convex mirror. So based on concave mirror and convex mirror, you need to understand few terms based on what? The mirrors. The first definition what you learn is what? Pole. The center of the reflecting surface of the spherical mirror is a point called as what? Pole. The center of the reflecting surface of a spherical mirror is a point called as what? Pole. Please make a note of the definition of pole. Otherwise, you can underline in your textbook itself. It lies on the surface of the mirror. The pole lies on the surface of the mirror. The pole is usually represented by the letter P. What is pole? The center. The center of the reflecting surface. So don't get confused with the center of curvature, right? Center of curvature is different. Center of the reflecting surface is called as what? Pole. The next definition what you should understand is center of curvature of the spherical mirror. What is center of curvature of the spherical mirror? The reflecting surface of a spherical mirror. The reflecting surface of the spherical mirror forms a part of the sphere. Forms part of the sphere. This has a center. The sphere will have a center, right? This point is called as what? Center of curvature of the spherical mirror. It is represented by the letter C. It is represented by the letter C. Center of curvature is not a part of the mirror. It is just an imaginary point. Okay? The center of curvature of a concave mirror lies in front of it. Can you observe it in the figure? The center of curvature of a concave mirror lies in front of it, right? In case of convex mirror, it is behind in case of a convex mirror. So the radius of a sphere of which reflecting surface of a spherical mirror forms a part is it's called as what? Radius of curvature. It is represented by the letter R. So the distance PC is called as what? Radius of curvature. The distance PC is what? Radius of curvature. A straight line passing through the pole and center of curvature of a spherical mirror. This is called as what? Principal axis. This is called as what? Principal axis. What is principal axis? It is a straight line passing through a pole and the center of curvature of a spherical mirror. This is called as what? Principal axis. So hope you are understanding what I am trying to tell. Now the next important definition is, see, you have an experiment here. You have an experiment here finding the focal length of the mirror. So please go through this. In the examination you can expect this question also. Finding the focal length. Describe an experiment of mirror for finding out the focal length of the mirror. Now we'll see what is the definition of focal length. A number of rays parallel to the principal axis are falling on a concave mirror. They all meet at a point on the principal axis. This point is called as principal focus. The rays which are parallel to principal axis after reflection, they all meet or intersect at a point on the principal axis of the mirror. This point is called as what? Principal focus. So the principal focus is represented by the letter F. The distance between the pole and the principal focus of a spherical mirror is called as what? Focal length. It is represented by the letter F. It is represented by the letter F. The distance between the pole and the principal focus of a spherical mirror is called as what? Focal length. It is represented by the letter F. The diameter of the reflecting surface of the spherical mirror is called its aperture. The diameter of the reflecting surface of the spherical mirror is called as its aperture. The distance Mn. So you can see the distance Mn is what? Aperture. So there is a relationship between the radius of curvature and the focal length. That is, R equals 2 times the value of F. That is, R equals 2F. R equals 2F. Based on this, you can expect 1 mark numerical. Radius of curvature is nothing but twice the focal length. R equals 2F. Now we'll see image formation by the spherical mirror based on mirror or based on lens. Definitely the ray diagram will be there for 3 marks. In case if you get ray diagram based on mirror, then you can expect 3-mark numerical based on the lens. Otherwise, if the ray diagram is asked based on lens, then you can expect 3-mark numerical on the concept of mirror. So if you want to draw a ray diagram of the spherical mirrors, you should understand 4 rules. The first rule is a ray which is parallel to the principal axis, after reflection it passes through the principal focus. A ray which is parallel to the principal axis, after reflection it passes through the principal focus. It is same in case of both concave and convex. In case of convex mirror, it is extended back to meet at F. So the second rule is, if a ray is passing through a principal focus, after reflection it will be parallel to the principal axis. It is same in case of convex mirror also. If a ray is passing to a center of curvature of a concave mirror, what happens? After reflection, without any deviation, it traces the same path. The fourth condition is, if a ray incident obliquely, that means less than 90 degree, if a ray is incident obliquely to the principal axis towards a point P, that is on the pole of a mirror, what happens? It is reflected back obliquely. That means the angle of incidence will be equal to angle of reflection. These are the 4 important rules or conditions you should know to draw the ray diagram. What is the first rule? If a ray is parallel to a principal axis, after reflection it passes through principal focus. If a ray is the principal focus, after reflection it will be parallel. If a ray is passing through center. Fourth condition, if a ray is incident obliquely at the point P, that is pole, it is reflected black. If it is reflected back obliquely. Now we'll see image formation by the concave mirror. If the object is at infinity, what happens? If the rays are extended back after reflection, they meet at what? The point F on the principal focus. The image formed is diminished, right? It is point size and it is realigned inverted. See, out of 4 rules, out of 4 conditions, if you use any 2 conditions, you will get the image. The second condition, image is beyond C. The object is placed beyond C. The image formed is what? The image formed is between C and F. The image is diminished. When compared to the object, the image size is diminished and it is realigned inverted. If the object is at C, the image formed is of same size. It's of same size. It is realigned inverted. If the object is placed between C and F, the image formed is beyond and it is enlarged. If the object is at F, the image formed is at infinity, it is highly enlarged and it is realigned inverted. In case if the object is placed between F and principal focus and pole, the image formed is enlarged, but it is virtual and error. You should practice all these ray diagrams to score 3 out of 3 marks. You should write the nature of image also. Important question, uses of concave mirrors. Concave mirrors are commonly used in torches, searchlights and vehicles headlights to get the powerful parallel beams of light. So the concave mirrors are used as shaving mirrors to see the larger image of the face, and also the concave mirrors are used by the dentists to see larger image of the teeth of the patients. And also large concave mirrors are used to concentrate sunlight to produce heat in the solar furnace. Now you can there can be give reason question like dentist use concave mirrors. Why? Because to get the large image of the teeth of the patient. In the same way, the barber uses the mirror, shaving mirrors. Why? Now we'll see the image formation by the convex mirror. There are two conditions. That means two ray diagrams are there. One is the object is at infinity and the object is between the pole and the mirror. In the both the cases, the image formed by the convex mirror is virtual and erect. Now we'll see the uses of convex mirrors. Uses of convex mirrors. Now we'll study the uses of convex mirrors. Convex mirrors are commonly used as rear view mirrors in the vehicles. Why these are used in the rear view mirrors of the vehicle? Because it enables the driver to see traffic behind him or her to facilitate safe driving. Convex mirrors are preferred because they always gives an erect, though diminished image. It always gives what? Erect, diminished image. And also they give wider field of the view as they are curved outwards. So the convex mirrors gives wider field of view as it is curved outwards. So this is an important use of convex mirrors. To solve problems based on mirrors or based on lens, you should know the sign convention for reflection as well as refraction. So the object is always placed left to the mirror. The object is always placed to the left side of the mirror, and this implies that light falling from the object falls on the mirror from the left hand side, right? The light from the object. If the object is placed on the left side, that means the light which is falling on the object falls from the left side to the mirror. All distances parallel to the principal axis are measured from the pole of the mirror. All the distances which are parallel to the principal axis are measured from the pole. All distances measured to the right of the origin along positive x-axis are taken as positive, whereas those are measured to the left of the origin, that is negative axis, are taken as negative. So you can see left side it is negative, on the right side it is positive. Again, the height upwards is positive, height downwards is negative. So these are the sign conventions you should know to solve the problems. So mirror formula, that is 1 by V plus 1 by U equals 1 by F. V is the image distance, U is the object distance, F is the focal length. The same way we have magnification. Magnification produced by a spherical mirror gives a relative extent of which an object is magnified with respect to the image of the object is magnified with respect to the object. Otherwise it is expressed as a ratio of height of the image to the height of the object, right? So magnification is equal to height of the image by height of the object. You can express it as it is the ratio of image distance by object distance. So here the magnification is usually taken as negative because the image is real, right? The negative sign in the value of the magnification indicates that the image is real. In case of positive sign, the value of the magnification indicates that the image is virtual. A negative sign indicates the image is real. In case of positive sign, that means the image is virtual. magnification equals minus V by U. So you have problem here 10.1, 10.2, all the problems from the in-text questions are very important. I have already solved and I put a video on numericals from the unit light, reflection and refraction. Go to those videos, it is in the description of this video. So definitely you can expect 3 mark numericals from the unit light, reflection and reflection. Now we'll see the next concept, refraction of light. What is refraction of light? See, when the light travels from one medium to another, the direction of propagation of light in the second medium changes. This phenomenon is called as what? Refraction of light. The bouncing back of light is called as reflection. Without bouncing back, if it changes the direction when it travels from one medium to another medium, it is called as what? Refraction of light. There are few examples are there here. That is refraction to a glass slab, and what happens when the pencil is immersed in a glass tumbler, it appears to be displaced, right, because of the refraction of light. A lemon placed in a water in a glass tumbler appears to be bigger than its actual size. That is also because of what? Refraction of light. So very important question, refraction to a glass slab. Again, this is an experiment for 3 marks. You should draw the figure first, refraction to a glass slab, and you should indicate the incident ray, refracted ray and emergent ray. So in the figure, a ray UO is the what called as incident ray, OO dash is called as refracted ray, O dash H is the emergent ray. So you should write neatly the figure which shows what? Incident ray, refracted ray and the emergent ray. So you can observe that emergent ray is parallel to the direction of the incident ray, right? So refraction is due to change in the speed of light as it enters from one transparent medium to another. The refraction occurs because of the change in the speed. Change in the speed of the light. That means when the light travels from one medium to another medium, the speed of light changes. When the light travels from rarer medium to denser medium, the speed decreases. It bends towards the normal. If the light travels from denser medium to rarer medium, the speed of the light increases. The speed of the light in the medium 2 increases and it bends away from the normal. So many a times the question has been asked based on this concept. Do make a note. And also we have 2 laws of refraction. The incident ray, the refracted ray and the normal to the point of interface of 2 transparent media at the points of incident all lie in the same plane. First law of refraction, the incident ray, refracted ray and the normal to the interface of 2 transparent media at the point of incident all lie in the same plane. Next, second law is also called as what? Snell's law. The ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the ratio of sine of angle of incident to the sine of angle of refraction is a constant for the light of a given color. This is called as Snell's law. Sin I by sin R equals constant. So the condition for I is it is greater than 0 degree and lesser than 90 degree. The important condition for angle of incidence is it is greater than 0 and it is always lesser than 90 degree. Next, you should understand the concept of refractive index. The extent of change in the direction that takes place when the light travels from one medium to another medium is expressed in terms of refractive index. So when the light travels from one medium to another medium, the extent of change in the direction of the light is expressed in terms of what? Refractive index. So the light travels with different speed in different media. So the light travels faster in the vacuum with a speed of 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. In air, the speed of light is marginally less when compared to that of vacuum. So if you consider a ray of light traveling from medium 1 to medium 2, then the refractive index with respect to medium 1 to 2 is expressed as what? Speed of light in medium 1 divided by speed of light in medium 2, that is V1 by V2. In case the refractive index of medium 1 with respect to medium 2 is what? 1 to 2. It is speed of light in medium 2 divided by speed of light in medium 1. If medium 1 is vacuum or air, then the refractive index of the medium 2 is considered with respect to what? Vacuum. This is called as what? Absolute refractive index. What is absolute refractive index? If the medium 1 is vacuum or air and the refractive index of the medium 2 is considered with respect to what? Medium vacuum, then it is called as what? Absolute refractive index. It is represented by n equals what? C by V. What is C? C is the speed of light in air divided by speed of light in the medium. N equals what? Speed of refractive index of the medium. Now you have a table here, the refractive index of different materials. The refractive index of kerosene is 1.44. What do you mean by this statement? This means that the ratio of speed of light in air to the speed of light in the kerosene is 1.44. The refractive index of benzene is 1.50. What do you mean by this statement? This means that the ratio of speed of light in air to the ratio of speed of light in benzene is 1.50. So these questions you can try in the in-text questions. The refractive index of diamond is 2.42. What do you mean by this? That this means the ratio of speed of light in vacuum to the speed of light in the diamond is 2.42. Then the next important concept is refraction by spherical lens. Now we should know what is spherical lens. A transparent material bound by two surfaces of which one or both the surfaces are spherical forms what? Lens. There are two types of lens. One is convex lens and concave lens. What is convex lens? A lens which has two spherical surfaces which is bulging outwards, and also it is thicker at the middle as compared to the edges. You can see they are thicker at the edges and thin at the edges. Thicker at the middle and thinner at the edges. It is called as what? Convex lens. What is concave lens? Concave lens is bounded by two spherical surfaces which is curved inwards. It is thicker at the edges than in the middle. So convex lens are what? Converging lens. Concave lens are converging lens because all the rays which are parallel to the principal axis, after refraction it meets at a point. Hence it is called as what? Converging lens. In case of concave lens, all the rays which are parallel to the principal axis, they diverge the light rays. Hence it is called as what? Diverging lens. So you have few terms which is related to what? Convex lens and concave lens. You can expect it for 1 marks. The center of these spheres are called as what? Center of curvature of the lens. The center of curvature of the lens is usually represented by what? C. An imaginary line passing through the two centers of curvature of the lens is called as what? Principal axis. The central point of a lens is called as what? Optical center. In case of mirror it is pole, whereas it is optic center or optical center. It is usually represented by the letter O. So the effective diameter of the circular outline of a spherical lens is called its aperture. It is called its aperture. Next, you have an important experiment here, finding the focal length of a convex lens. So go to this experiment. This experiment is used to find out the focal length of a convex lens. The focal length of a convex lens. So the distance between the optic center and the principal focus of a lens is called as what? Focal length. It is usually represented by the letter F. So all the rays which converge at a point in a lens is called as what? Principal focus. The distance between the principal focus and the optic center is called as what? Focal length. Here it is an activity or the experiment to find out the focal length of the convex lens. So please do read out this experiment to find out the focal length of a convex lens by using suitable experiment. Now we will see the image formation by the lenses, that is spherical lens. So again, you should understand the three important rules or the condition. The first rule says that if a ray is parallel to principal axis, after refraction it passes through principal focus. Next, if a ray is passing through principal focus, after refraction the ray will be parallel to the principal axis. If a ray passes to the optic center, it passes without any deviation. Out of these three, if you use any two conditions, you can draw the ray diagram of convex or concave lens. You have here when the object ray diagram for convex lens. If the object is at infinity, the image is formed at the principal focus. The nature of the image is it is highly diminished point size and it is realigned inverted. In case if the object is placed beyond 2f1, that is beyond C, center of curvature, or 2f1, both are same, then what you get? The image is formed 2f2 and f2. The size of the image is what? Diminished. When compared to the object, the size is reduced, it is diminished, and the image is what? Realigned inverted. In the same way, if the object is placed at 2f1, that is center of curvature, the image formed is of the same size. It is of the same size. It is formed at 2f2. The nature of the image is it is realigned inverted. It is realigned inverted. If the object is between 2f1 and f1, the image formed is enlarged. It is formed beyond 2f2. It is realigned inverted. When the object is placed at f1, that is principal focus, the image is formed at what? Infinity. It is highly enlarged. The image is realigned inverted. If the object is placed between the principal focus and the optic center, the image formed is enlarged. It is virtual and error. In the same way, you can check the ray diagram for concave lens. In case of concave lens, the nature of the image is always virtual and erect. It is diminished. So again the sign convention remains same in case of spherical lenses also. Here you have lens formula 1 by V minus 1 by U equals 1 by F. 1 by V minus 1 by U equals 1 by F. What is V? V is the image distance, U is the object distance, F is the so you should understand the sign conventions to solve the numericals from the unit light reflection and refraction. Next you have magnification of lens. The magnification produced by the lens is similar to that of mirrors. It is a ratio of height of the image to the height of the object. Otherwise it is defined as the image distance by object distance, that is magnification equals h dash by h or v by u. So magnification of a lens is 1. What do you mean by this statement? This means that the size of the object is same as the size of the image. The image size is equal to the object size. Numericals which I have already solved and uploaded the video, you can check it out. Now the important concept, that is power of a lens. What is power of a lens? It is the ability of a lens to converge or diverge the light rays depending on the focal length. It is called as what? Power of a lens. Power of a lens is the reciprocal of its focal length. The power of a lens is what? It is the reciprocal of its focal length. Yes or no? Yes, sir. So the power of a lens, the unit of power of a lens is what? Diopter. It is what? Diopter. It is usually represented by the letter P. The SI unit of power of lens is what? Diopter. F is always expressed in terms of meter. Power is expressed in diopter. Power of convex lens is positive and that of concave lens is negative. Convex lens is what? Positive. Convex lens is positive. Concave lens is negative. Say that if the prescribed lens has a power which is equal to plus 2 diopters, that means the lens is convex. In case minus 2.5 diopter, that means the lens is concave. To calculate the power of a lens, always you should express the focal length in meters. A doctor prescribes a power of lens of plus 3 diopter. What do you mean by this? This means that the prescribed lens is convex. And find the focal length. P equals what? 1 by f. P equals 1 by f. 1 by 3 which is equal to 0.33 diopters. Whether the lens is diverging or converging. It is a converging lens because it is a convex lens. This kind of questions are very important for examination. So dear students, try to revise all this concept, read the textbook, try to score good marks from this. So unit, the human eye and the colorful world. Very simple chapter to score around 6 to 7 marks from this unit. The important concept what in the first page what you should learn is the parts of human eye with their function. So the light enters the eye through a thin membrane called as what? Cornea. The light enters the eye through a thin membrane. It is called as what? Cornea. And also the light, it has a lens system, forms an image on a light sensitive screen called as retina. The image is formed on the light sensitive screen in the eye. It is called as what? Retina. The eyeball is approximately in the shape with a diameter about 2.3 centimeter. So behind the cornea you have a part called as iris. Iris is a dark muscular diaphragm that controls the size of the pupil. You can see the pupil size. The pupil size is controlled by iris. but the pupil regulates and controls the amount of light entering the eye. The pupil regulates and controls the amount of light entering the eye. Very, very important concept for the exam. Power of accommodation of eye. The ability of the eye lens to adjust its focal length is called as power of accommodation of eye. The ability of the eye lens to adjust its focal length to see near and far object. To see near and far object is called as what? Power of accommodation of eye. So the important few more definitions based on power of accommodation of eye is that the minimum distance at which the objects can be seen clearly or distinctly without strain to the eye, it's called as what? Least distance of distinct vision. It is also called as near point of an eye. What is the near point of an eye? It is 25 centimeter. In the same way, the farthest point up to which the eye can see the object clearly is called as what? Far point of an eye. It is infinity. So near point is 25 centimeter, far point it is infinity. Far point it is infinity. Sometimes the crystalline lens of people at old ages become milky and cloudy. This condition is called as what? Cataract. So this causes partial or complete loss of vision. You can restore the vision through cataract surgery. You can restore the vision by cataract surgery. So the ability of the eye lens to adjust its focal length is called as power of accommodation of eye. It is done by ciliary muscles. Next, we have defects of vision and their correction. Out of 3 defects, definitely you can expect one for the exam. We'll start with myopia. Myopia is known as nearsightedness. Myopia is called as what? Nearsightedness. That means a person with myopia can see near objects clearly but cannot see the far object distinctly. That means the image is formed before or in front of the retina. It should be formed on the retina. What is myopia? Myopia is also called as nearsightedness. A person with myopia can see near objects clearly but cannot see the far object properly or distinctly. So in myopic eye, the image of a distant object is formed in front of the retina. So it's not at the retina. This because what are the reasons for defects? Defect of myopia is nothing but excessive curvature of the eye lens, elongation of the eyeball. These are the 2 reasons for the causes of myopia. What are the 2 reasons? Excessive curvature of the eye lens, elongation of the eyeball. So how can you correct it? You can correct it by using concave lens of suitable power. By using concave lens, the image is formed exactly on the retina. Now we'll see hypermetropia. So the next defect what we are going to study is hypermetropia. Hypermetropia is also known as farsightedness. What do you mean by that? A person with hypermetropia can see the distant objects clearly. Distant, not distinct. Distant objects clearly, but cannot see the objects nearby distinctly. That means he is not able to see the objects, nearby objects clearly. This condition is known as hypermetropia. That means the image is formed behind the retina. You can see in the figure. The image is formed behind the retina. A suitable convex lens should be used so that the image is formed exactly on the retina. What are the reasons for hypermetropia is that the focal length of the eye lens is too long. The focal length of the eye lens is too long and the eyeball has become too small. These are the reasons for the hypermetropia. What type of lens should be used? a convex lens or converging lens should be used. So the next important defect is presbyopia. So the power of accommodation of the eye usually decreases with aging. So because of this, it is very difficult to see the near object as well as this far objects properly. This condition is called as what? Presbyopia. So this arises due to the weakening of the ciliary muscles and diminishing the flexibility of the eye lens. The two reasons for presbyopia is nothing but the weakening of the ciliary muscles and also the decrease in the power of accommodation of eye. How can you correct it? You can correct it by using bifocal lens. That means the upper portion of the lens consists of concave and the lower part is convex. Refraction of light through a prism. So what is angle of prism? The angle between two lateral surfaces is called as what? Angle of prism. Very important definition. What is angle of prism? The angle between two lateral surface of the prism is called as what? Angle of prism. What it is called as? Angle of prism. You have an activity here. Do go through this activity and identify the incident ray, refracted ray, emergent ray, angle of prism and also angle of incidence and very importantly angle of deviation. Very important definition for the exam. What is angle of deviation? The peculiar shape of the prism makes the emergent ray bend at an angle to the direction of incident ray. This is called as what? Angle of deviation. It is denoted by angle D. You can observe it in the figure. What is angle of deviation? The peculiar shape of the prism makes the emergent ray bend in such a way that it is in the direction of the incident ray. The angle formed, it is called as what? Angle of deviation. Next concept is dispersion of white light by a glass prism. So you can see the figure there. Dispersion of white light by the glass prism. What is dispersion? Splitting of white light into its constituent colors is called as dispersion of light. White light contain what? 7 colors. That is violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. The acronym WIBGOI. Right? What is dispersion of light? Splitting of white light into its constituent color is called as what? Dispersion of. So what is dispersion of light? The splitting of white light into its component colors or constituent colors, it is called as dispersion of light. So the white light contains 7 colors, that is WIBGOI, right? The band of colored components of the light is called as what? Spectrum. Splitting of white light into its constituent color is called as dispersion. The band of colored components of light is called as what? Spectrum of light. So Newton has conducted an experiment to show the white light contains 7 colors, right? So this is a very important experiment. This question has been asked in preparatory examination. So as I told previously, from the physics part, definitely you should expect 3 or 4 marks experiment for the exam. And also it's a very important diagram for the exam also. Sir Isaac Newton was the first to use a glass prism to obtain a spectrum of sunlight. He tried to split the colors of spectrum of white light by using another similar prism. So what he did, he tried to split the colors of the spectrum of white light by using another similar prism. However, he could not any colors. Then what he did, he placed a second identical prism in an inverted position with respect to the first prism. You can see here again what has happened. This allowed all the colors of the spectrum to pass through the second prism. He found a beam of white light emerging from the other side of the second prism. This shows that sunlight is made up of 7 colors. Very simple experiment to score 3 marks, and also you should write the diagram. With the diagram you should explain with points. Next important question is the formation of rainbow. A rainbow is a natural spectrum appearing in the sky after rain shower. It is caused by the dispersion of sunlight by tiny water droplets present in the atmosphere. This is the optical phenomenon which appears after the rain shower. So it is caused by dispersion of sunlight by the tiny water droplets. This tiny water droplets acts as what? Small prism. So always a rainbow is formed opposite to the direction of the sun. The water droplets acts as what? Small prisms. The list, or you should know the list of events that takes place. First, the light refract. Then dispersion takes place. And internally reflection takes place. Again finally the refraction takes place again and comes out of the raindrop. That means the white light has split into what? Its 7 constituent colors. So it is very important to note the events that acts. First is what? Refraction, dispersion, then internal reflection and refraction again. So if you explain with this simple figure the formation of rainbow, that means you can impress the evaluator. So you have similar concepts like twinkling of stars, and also advanced sunrise and delayed sunset, and also the scattering of light. Why the sky appears blue, and very important, explain the Tyndall effect. Very important question. And the few more important question what you can expect is why the color of the sky is blue, and also color of the sunset and sunrise is reddish. So all these concepts I have explained in my state level and model paper key answers. You can go through those links. Tyndall effects, why sky appears blue, why reasons for reddish appearance of the sun during sunset and sunrise, and why red color light is used as the danger signals. I'll repeat the questions. Why red light are used as the danger signals, the reasons for delayed sunset and sunrise, reasons for appearance of reddish of the sun during sunset and sunrise, experiment of Tyndall effect, why sky appears blue, and also the relationship between the color of the scattered light and the size of the scattered particles. You should know the relationship between the color of the scattered light and the size of the scattered particle. Advanced sunrise and delayed sunset reason, and also reasons for twinkling effect of stars. These are the important concepts you should know. So next unit, heredity and evolution. See, heredity and evolution, you should know about the importance of variation. You should know the importance of variation. So the important question is, how does variation helps in survival of an species? So during reproduction, DNA copying is an important event, right? So during those, the variation occurs. Because of the variation, it will be able to adapt to the surrounding condition. Because of that, the chances are more that the species will survive. See, what is heredity? The transfer of parental characters to the offspring is called as what? Heredity. You have an experiment, Mendel's experiment here, to show that the traits can be dominant or recessive. So the very important concept, definite 3 or 4 mark question for the exam. See, from the examination point of view, the important 3 or 4 mark question what you can expect is Mendel's monohybrid and dihybrid experiment. Both explain the concept of the trait can be dominant or recessive. With the help of the checkerboard, you should explain monohybrid or dihybrid cross. If you explain that, you can score easily 3 or 4 marks. The traits in the examination, the traits can be changed, but the concept remains same. The ratio, the monohybrid ratio is 1:3:1, whereas the dihybrid ratio is 9:3:3:1. How do the traits gets expressed? How the daughter cells receives the same copy as the parental chromosomes, right? Instead of doubling the number of chromosomes, the daughter cells receive the same number of chromosomes as present in the parents. This is a very important concept. Already I have explained in how do organisms reproduce. Now the next important concept is sex determination. So the male contains sex chromosomes XY, female contains XX. If X of the male fuses with X of the female, then it is female baby. Then if Y of the male fuses with X of the female, then it is a male baby. So sex determination in human beings is an important 3 mark question. With figure you can explain this concept. So the next important concept is evolution. So the evolution is because of variation, right? Because of the continuous variation in a species, it leads to what? Evolution. You have an illustration for evolution here. From this you should understand. See, the formation of new species from the pre-existing species is called as speciation. The main reasons for speciation is genetic drift, natural selection, change in the number of DNA, change in DNA, and geographical isolation. See, the next important concept, what very important is acquired and inherited traits. So you should know the difference between acquired and inherited traits with example. You should know with examples. And also the concept of speciation with what? Reasons for speciation, and evolution and classification. Then definition of fossils, reasons for, how to determine the age of fossils. What are fossils? How to determine the age of fossils? Again, important question. And difference between homologous and analogous organs with example, or the give reason type question can be asked. Wing of a bat and the wing of a bird are analogous organ. Give reason. You should know the difference between analogous organs and homologous organs with examples. You should at least list it down 2 to 3 examples for each. And evolution by stages, you can expect for 1 mark in MCQ or give reason type question. And evolution of wild cabbage. evolution of wild cabbage into cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, kale, red cabbage, etc. So dear students, these are the important questions or concept from this chapter. So unit sustainable management of natural resources. So sustainable management of natural resources. So very important chapter and very easy chapter to score 2 to 3 marks. Maximum 3 marks or maximum you can expect 4 marks. And the reasons for contamination of water bodies because of the presence of coliform bacteria. So coliform is a group of bacteria found in the human intestines. Presence in the water indicates the contamination of the water bodies. So you should know about 5 R's: refuse, reduce, reuse, repurpose and recycle. So you can expect question like between reuse and recycle, which is eco-friendly? Which is eco-friendly? Definitely it is reuse. Why? So recycling needs some amount of energy to be utilized, right? To convert one product to another product, whereas reuse does not require. So you should know all the 5 R's: reduce, refuse, reuse, repurpose and recycle. Why do we need to manage our resources? Who are stakeholders? Who depend on them? All these are important questions from this chapter. And also, what are biodiversity hotspots? Importance of biodiversity hotspots, stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? So you can go through this chapter, very simple chapter. A value-based question will be asked. In the examination, the value-based question will be asked. And importance of construction of dams and also the problems associated with the construction of dams is an important 2-mark question, and based on water harvesting system in India, coal and petroleum already we have studied in sources of energy, reasons for few eco-friendly methods of following to reduce the power consumption. So all these are very important questions from this unit. You can easily answer in your own words. In the examination, you should not leave any question. You should try to attempt all the questions. Try to focus on the main important 12 marks. It is what it is. It is diagrams, right? For 12 marks, you can expect diagrams. Try to first focus to score good marks. Try to focus on diagram. So to get good marks, you should read the textbook. So if you go through the textbook, concept wise if you study, definitely you will be able to score. You will be able to attempt all the questions in the examination. In science, if you score good marks, obviously you can score good marks in other subjects. Your percentage will be increased. So all the best for your exams. Do attempt the maths live revision classes where all the important questions will be discussed. It will be a 1-day revision class. Do try to attend. Thank you. So unit, how do organisms reproduce? Now here you should know how do organisms create exact copies of themselves. So reproduction is of 2 types, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. But from the both topics you can expect questions for the examination. So a basic event in reproduction is what? Creation of DNA copy. Creation of what? DNA copy. So cells use chemical reaction to build copies of their DNA. So the DNA copies, the copying of DNA is similar but not identical. That's why we can see some variations in an organism. So during reproduction, DNA copying is an important event. So the DNA copying will be similar but not identical. Because of this, what happens? We can see variations in the individual. So the variation during reproduction is the basis of evolution, is the basis for evolution. This will be discussing in detail in the next chapter. So during reproduction, DNA copying is an important event, right? Copying of DNA is similar but not identical. Because of this, the variations arises in an organism. Okay, the variation results in what? It's a basis for evolution. So you should know the importance of variations. So variations increases the chances of an organisms to survive. Variations are very important for the survival of an organism. So variations are very important for the survival of species over a time. It has to resist some of its drastic condition. Otherwise, it has to adapt to the drastic changes in the environment or the conditions. So variations helpful for the survival of the species. Know about the importance of DNA copying during reproduction, and also how variation is beneficial to the species but not necessary for an individual. So modes of reproduction by single organism, that is by asexual reproduction. The first type of asexual reproduction is fission. For unicellular organisms, cell division or fission leads to creation of new individuals, where a cell splits into two cells, where each cells will go into an individual. For example, amoeba, protozoa, and many bacteria. So you have few examples here is Leishmania and Kala Hazar. They have replaced structure at one end of the cell, which is an example for what? Binary fission, where a cell is exactly divided into two parts. Whereas other single-celled organisms such as malarials, parasite, plasmodium divide into many daughter cells simultaneously by multiple fission. Binary fission, a single cell splits into two. Multicellular multiple fission, a single cell will divide into many daughter cells, right? Next important thing is fragmentation. What is fragmentation? See, few organisms on maturation, what happens? They break into smaller pieces. These pieces go into what? New individual. This is called as what? Fragmentation. This is called as fragmentation. This is a type of asexual reproduction. So example for fragmentation is Spirogyra. So Spirogyra on maturation, what happens? It breaks into smaller pieces. These fragmented pieces will go into what? New individual. This is an example for fragmentation. And also we have regeneration. Regeneration is entirely different from fragmentation. If the individual is somewhat cut or broken into many pieces, many of these pieces go into a separate individual. Example, Hydra, Planaria are example for regeneration. So in regeneration, what happens? The cut or broken pieces by accident will go into what? New individuals. Example, Hydra and Planaria. In preparatory paper, you might have seen that a HOTS question have been asked based on this. They have given the figure. Based on this, you need to write the answer. This is an example for see budding. Next important asexual reproduction is budding. In Hydra, a bud develops as an outgrowth due to repeated cell division at one specific site. These buds develop into a tiny individual. You can see an example here. In Hydra, a bud develops as an outgrowth due to what? Repeated cell division at one particular site. These bud develop into a tiny individual. When they become fully mature, detached from the parent body and become what? New independent individual. Example for budding is Hydra. Next, vegetative propagation. There are many plants many plants in which parts like root, stem, leaves develop into a new plants under appropriate condition. Right? This is called as what? Vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation are used for grafting to grow many plants like sugarcane, roses or grapes for agricultural purposes. Plants raised by the vegetative propagation can bear fruits and flowers earlier than those produced from the seeds. These are the advantages of vegetative propagation. So vegetative propagation can also be used for the propagation of plants such as banana, orange, rose, jasmine, etc. But they lose the capacity to produce what? Seeds. Another advantages of vegetative reproduction is that all plant produce are genetically similar enough to the parent plant. So these are the 4 advantages of vegetative propagation. So list it down and study well. This is an important question. Advantages of vegetative propagation. Next type of asexual reproduction is spore formation. So many multicellular organisms such as specific reproductive parts can be identified. The thread-like structure that develop on the bread, you might have observed in the bread mold, right? So these bob-like structures, these tiny bob-like structures on the stick are involved in the reproduction. The blobs are called as what? Sporangia, which contains cells or spores that can eventually develop into a new rhizopus. So these spores are covered by thick walls that protect them until they come into contact with the moist surface and can regrow. So all the syntax questions are very important. Importance of vegetative propagation, importance of DNA copying, difference between binary and multiple fission, how an organism is benefited if it is reproduced by spores. Now we'll see sexual type of reproduction. What is sexual reproduction? Where fusion of male and female gamete is involved. So the DNA copying is not much accurate, which results in the what? Variation. So in sexual mode of reproduction, what happens? It incorporates the combining DNA from 2 different individuals during reproduction. That is, the fusion of male and female gametes takes place. That is the process of combining DNA from 2 different individuals during what? The process of reproduction. So the question what arises here is, in new generation will it end up having twice the amount of DNA that the previous generation had? The answer will be no, right? Why? The answer is no, because so to overcome this problem, it has specialized cells in specialized organs in which only the half the number of chromosome and half the number of DNA is taken from each individual reproductive cells. This is achieved by the process of cell division called as meiosis. 2 germ cells from 2 individuals combine during sexual reproduction to form a new individual. It results in the re-establishment of number of chromosomes and DNA content in the new generation. This results in the same number of DNA as in the parent cells. The fusion of male and female gametes results in the formation of zygote. This zygote go and develop into a new organism which has specialized tissues and organism. It has to have sufficient stores for energy for doing this. The zygote is formed from one germ cell which is large and contains food store, and another is what? Small, which is like to be motile. The motile germ cell is from the male, whereas the egg or the food stored germ cell is from the female gamete. So sexual reproduction in flowering plant. The reproductive parts of angiosperms are located in the flower. The reproductive part of the plant is what? Flower, right? So already I have studied the different parts of the flower: sepals, petals, stamens and pistil. Stamens and pistil are the reproductive parts of the flower. What is the reproductive part of the plant? The reproductive part of the plant is flower. The reproductive part of the flower is stamens and pistil, which contains what? The germ cells. Stamen is the male reproductive part which produces pollen grains, whereas pistil is the female reproductive part. So pistil is present in the center of a flower and it is the female reproductive part. The longitudinal section of flower, important 2 marks diagram. So the pistil is made up of 3 parts. The swollen bottom part is called as ovary, the middle elongated part is called as style, and the terminal part, which is sticky, is called as what? Stigma. Stigma, ovary and style are the 3 parts of the female part of the flower, that is pistil. The ovary contains ovules. Each ovule has what? Egg cell. The male germ cells produced by the pollen grains fuses with the what? Female gamete present in the ovule. The fusion of male germ cells, that is the male and female germ cells, results in the formation of zygote. This process is called as fertilization. The fusion of male and female gametes is called as what? Fertilization. The female part is what? Here it is pistil. The male part it is stamen. The pollen grain, that is the male germ cells, is fused with the what? The female germ cell, an egg from the ovule, results in the formation of zygote. The pollen needs to be transferred from stamen to the stigma. If this transfer of pollen occurs in the same flower, it is called as self-pollination. If it is from the different flower, then it is called as cross-pollination. The transfer of pollen grains from one flower to another flower is achieved by agents such as wind, water or animals. Example for animals is honeybee. Again, important 2 marks diagram: germination of pollen on stigma. After the pollen falls on the stigma, it has to reach the female germ cell which is in the ovary, right? For this, the tube grows longer out of the pollen grain. The pollen grain, from the pollen grain, a tube goes very much longer to come in contact with the female germ cell. After this, what happens? The fertilization takes place. After fertilization, the resulting zygote divides several times to form an embryo within the ovule. The ovule develops a tough coat and it is gradually converted into seeds. The ovary grows rapidly and ripens to form a fruit. The petals, sepals, stamen, style and stigma may be shrivel and fall off. The seed contains the future plant or the embryo which develops into a seedling under appropriate condition, which is called as what? Germination. The plumule is a future shoot and radicle is the future root and cotyledon is the food store during germination process. Now we will see reproduction in human being. So you should know the changes that takes place during puberty in male and females. This you can list it down. So go through these paragraphs in detail and list down all the changes that takes place during what? The sexual maturation. We'll go directly to male reproductive system. So list down each and every part of the male reproductive system which functions. Definitely, if in case the functions of each part will be asked for 3 marks. The formation of germ cells or the sperm takes place in the testes. These are located outside the abdominal cavity because the formation of sperm takes place at a lower temperature than the normal body. So what is the role of testes? Again, it secretes the male sex hormone called as testosterone. So what is the function of testosterone? Testosterone brings about the changes in the appearance seen in the boys at the time of puberty. The sperms which are produced by the testis is formed or delivered to the what? Vas deferens, which unites with the tube coming from the urinary bladder. Therefore, the urethra thus forms a common passage for sperms and urine. Name the common passage for sperms and urine. It is urethra. Along the path of the vas deferens glands, we have a gland like prostate gland, which had their secretion. Now the sperms are in a fluid which makes their transport easier, and also this fluid provides what? Nutrition. The function of vas deferens, prostate gland, testis, urethra are very important. Name the common passage for sperms and urine. Urethra. Now we'll move to what? Female reproductive system. The female germ cells or the eggs are made in the ovaries. The egg cells, the egg or the germ cell of the female is produced by what? Ovary. When a girl is born, the ovaries already contain thousands of immature cells. On reaching puberty, what happens? Some of these start maturing. One egg is produced every month by one of the ovaries. The egg is carried from ovary to the womb through a tiny oviduct or the fallopian tube. So you can see the fallopian tube. The egg is carried from the ovary to the womb to a what? Oviduct or the fallopian tube. The two oviducts unite into an elastic bag-like structure known as uterus. There are two ovaries are there. The uterus opens into a vagina to what? Cervix. The sperms enter the vaginal passage during what? Sexual intercourse, through which the sperm will be carried to the site of the female egg. After the fusion of male and female gamete, it results in the formation of zygote. The zygote starts dividing and form a what? Ball of cells or the embryo. This embryo is implanted in the lining of the uterus until they continue to grow. Now the important question here it is, how the embryo gets nutrition. The embryo gets nutrition from the mother's blood with the help of special tissue called as placenta, and also the waste produced by the embryo is removed with the help of placenta. The waste generated substances can be removed by transferring them into the mother's blood to what? Placenta. What happens when the egg is not fertilized? If the egg is very important question. If the egg is not fertilized, it leaves about 1 day. Since the ovary releases one egg every month, the uterus also prepares itself every month to receive a fertilized egg. Thus, its lining becomes thick and spongy. In case if fertilization does not takes place, what happens? This lining does not require any longer. So the lining slowly breaks up and comes out to the vagina as blood and mucus. So this cycle takes place roughly every month, and this is known as menstruation. It usually lasts about 2 to 8 days. So next important concept, reproductive health. 1 or 2 mark question you can expect from this question, from this concept. The bacterial infections, that is STDs, are gonorrhea and syphilis. The viral infections such as what? Warts and AIDS. You should know the difference between the bacterial infection and with examples, and also viral infections with example. Example for bacterial infections are gonorrhea and syphilis. It is related only to the sexually transmitted diseases. Example for viral infections are warts and HIV/AIDS. So how can you prevent STDs? You can prevent STDs by covering the penis with what? A condom. It prevents what? Transmission of these infections to some extent. And also you can avoid the pregnancy using these devices. So the methods to avoid pregnancies are, the contraceptive methods are, one of the category is mechanical barrier, so that the sperm does not reach the eggs. Condoms on the penis or similar coverings worn in the vagina can serve this purpose. That is an example for mechanical barrier. So, and also another method is by changing the hormonal balance of the body so that the egg is not released and the fertilization cannot occur. So changing the hormonal balances do have side effects, so it is not advised. So another contraceptive method is such as loop or copper T placed in the uterus to prevent the pregnancy. Again, these have side effects due to irritation of the uterus. And if the vas deferens in the male is blocked, the sperm transfer will be prevented. And in case of female, the fallopian tube can be blocked. The egg released will not be able to reach the uterus. In these both cases, surgical methods are used. Surgical methods are employed to block such things. That is vas deferens in case of male, fallopian tube in case of female. This is done by surgical methods. So there are many ways to avoid pregnancy. One is by what? Mechanical barrier. Another by what? Hormonal balance, that is by chemicals. And also some contraceptive devices such as loop or copper T. And what we have is surgical methods, that is the blocking of vas deferens in case of male, fallopian tube in case of female. So these kind of unwanted pregnancies can be misused by peoples. For example, illegal selective abortion of female fetuses. This results in the decrease in the female-male sex ratio. Because of this, the child sex ratio is declining at an alarming rate. Because of this, we have prenatal Sex Determination Act, which bans from knowing the sex of the child. So Prenatal Sex Determination Act has been passed, prohibited by law. That means knowing the sex of the child before it is born is illegal. Why it is illegal? Because there might be selective abortion of female fetuses can takes place, right? Because of this, the child sex ratio will be declined. So these are the important questions from the unit. How do organisms reproduce? Very simple chapter. Do read all the concept to score